Right on to, all right, it's a little bit of a dirty sound. We're going to do the A major pentatonic. All right, so I got to stop at 2 minutes of quarter. So, I've done many videos on the pentatonic. I've done them on the diatonic, the 7 scale positions. There's also modal names. But the basics on your pentatonic, like your minor pentatonic, for example, I've mentioned this many times. Any minor pentatonic your F sharp minor, well, it's also A major, okay? If you start with the A note and you go up the F sharp minor pentatonic, let's start here. Start with the A note. And resolve on the A, it's A major pentatonic. So again, I'm always stressing taking any minor pentatonic, learn that all the blocks of that. There's a certain shape to it. So if you started here on the F sharp minor, you've got an F sharp, an A, a B, a C sharp, an E. That's it. F sharp, A, B, C sharp, E. F sharp, A, B, C sharp, E. F sharp, A, B, C sharp, E. You know? So this would be called block number 1 if you're talking F sharp minor pentatonic, right? But if you're talking A major, this would be number 1, meaning you start with the A note. But you can start it here. If I play to it, the best thing to do is play to one chord to get good at your pentatonic, whether you want to do the minor side of it or the major side of it. You know, I used to play the tracks, 10, 15 years ago, that was just going. My buddy said, why would you bother doing that? Because it would make me find everything I can say to that one chord. You know what I mean? And you can't hide from, there's no hiding. It's like, what do you got? That means you really better know it on the whole fretboard. And of course, plus I know the diatonic and the diads and the octaves, all that stuff. But anyways, so we're gonna do I'm going to just show you the pentatonic up the fretboard. This is one of my pieces out of 1,000 that I've recorded since last September. So, take your F sharp minor pentatonic. If you go F sharp to F sharp, you hear the F sharp minor. But that same notes, I'm going to give it the A major sound. On the A note and leaning towards either the A and going up to the C sharp, which is the major third harmony to A. That's all I'm doing here is that major third note. C sharp minor, and that's another thing. Learn what all the notes on the guitar. You should know what all the notes are in standard tuning. Of course, if you alter the tuning, you should know what they are also. So you would have the block number. I'm just starting at the F sharp note. You play the basic pentatonic, minor pentatonic shape that most every guitar player knows. And remember that you can play that all day long to an A major chord. Okay? Alright, so that's block number one, the common one everyone knows. Then this is A major pentatonic. And it's also F sharp minor pentatonic. So then I would use that finger here and the baby finger for that note. Use those fingers because you don't have to move your hand to play the scale, okay? And then when you come up to the A note and start in that block, you'd use your middle finger because there's notes over here that you gotta play. So it'd be... Okay, so go up. See the fingers? Baby fingers got to be used a lot if you want to be a good player. I mean, unless you're Gary Moore or Alvin Lee or somebody that didn't need the baby finger much. They were lightning. But it's better to use it and get all four fingers involved in your playing. So the block number three, we'll call the F sharp minor note the block one because that's a common, well-known shape for everybody. Block number two. Alright, and then block number three, I'm basing it on the F sharp minor pentatonic to make it simple, okay? Always, if you're doing a minor pentatonic in any key, the shapes will be this shape. You're just moving them for a whole different key. The third block, starting at the B note, use your middle finger and your baby finger. 3 strings in a row are the same pattern. Middle finger, baby finger. When I say those fingers, it means you're not having to move somewhere. Right where they sit is what you're playing. Okay? That's why this fingering, rather than favoring 2 fingers, you have to go like this just to walk up that block. You should be able to do it without even moving. So the 3 strings, bottom strings, are going to be the same. Middle finger, baby finger. Then the next one, you need this finger here and you're going to step over, do that same shape, but step it over first. Now, you want to move like I'm doing, not pack your finger. When you solo, you can do what you want. I want to teach you how to get them under your belt and get all 4 fingers built up. You know what I mean? Now, if you do soloing later on down the road, and you can do that kind of stuff. But right now, we want to execute and go up and down the scale and not park our hand in one spot. Alright, so that's the third block. Now the next one up is going to be first finger here and baby finger here twice. And then these 2 are the same, finger-wise, and then next 2 are the same. Then from here, there's your A note. got good at playing was I would just take things like what I'm doing right now. I'd first learn it, I'd go. Never try to play stuff fast. If you don't naturally have speed, like you're just born with the gift of it, you're going to teach yourself to suck by trying to play fast. Because you're not going to hear any of the fucking notes while you're doing it. You're just going to be running up and down them, try to get it to, so I can impress people. Well, David Gilmour impresses far more millions of people than Yngwie Malmsteen does, okay? And Malmsteen's phenomenal. I've seen him live. But, you know what I mean? Learning to hear what the notes sound like and how they make you feel. And I would sit there, and once I do it with every block, I would sit there different amounts of times on a different day or whatever, and then I started doing these octave things on one string. You know, I wouldn't just go A to A, but I would listen to everything. I'd start creating, but I learned this diatonic scales too, and I all know what the modal stuff is, so I can start creating other than just the A minor. So the last one you would do after this one is starting at the E string with your middle finger on the 12th fret, E note too, on the low E string. And you're gonna, this one I call the sandwich block. It's always that way no matter what key you go into. The block before the very first one, that's the typical minor pentatonic shape, is always this. I call it a sandwich shape because the bottom two strings, the bottom ain't down there, it's this way. Musically, when I say bottom, it's actually physically the top. It's the lower notes. So these is the middle finger, baby finger, two strings in a row on the E and A string. The middle two strings is the first finger in the baby finger. This side over here is all baby finger. All. Every string. So the sandwich is the middle two is fingers 1 and 4. So the fingers, when I say numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm not going to tell what the fret is. You should learn it and know what all the notes are. I said them in the beginning. Or did I? F sharp, A, B, C sharp, E. That's it. If you wrote them out constantly, then you'd go, oh, so if I was to start at the A and put a line there and go up to this, blah, 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 and then the next one's B and so on. So we're here at the sandwich one, it goes. So, and then back to the normal shape. I'm marching the clock. All right, so that's your A major / F sharp minor pentatonic. Yeah, it's about 15 minutes. That's all YouTube allows me. I can go maybe 20 seconds over or thereabouts. Other than that, they'll kick it off if I go too long. So A major pentatonic. Learn it on the whole fretboard. It's the second note of a certain minor pentatonic. In this case, F sharp minor pentatonic. The second note from the F sharp in that is an A note. A major.